Welcome everybody to another episode of the Monday Nitro Party, and we are here with a new co-host. Actually, now
Hello.
that
Just like
this
10
is
years younger.
actually like okay, so listen, everybody, my name's Jonas Barnes. I'm one of the hosts. Our co-host today is often he calls himself Joshy, and now he looks Joshy. So
I
like,
definitely look Joshy
yeah,
Puro. No. But yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Hey,
say you
what's
don't
up?
look like you're a Japanese or
no, no, not a
whatever.
Joshi. You are not a Joshi.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, yeah.
Joshi.
No, no, you would be very Bull Nakano if you were if you were a Joshi.
Oh God. Imagine.
So,
Martha Faye.
a little bit, yeah, a little bit. I feel like me or Josh would be a little bit of an Aja Kong going on, just a little bit. Like, I don't know. I might have actually bigger tits than Aja Kong now that I think about it. Like, it's so sad. Excuse me. Choking on my own air. See, that's what happens. That was a problematic joke, and my fucking
That was Aja.
just like, don't. How
That
dare
was
you?
Aja Karma coming to get
It's
you.
exactly what it was. So the other voice that you hear here on the show here is our guest for this evening. We're not in the studio today. Just shit happened. We had to do it over Zoom again, which is cool. We like doing it over Zoom. But our guest today, Rob Pasbani. How you doing, man?
Pleasure. It's an honor. I host a podcast called KNITRO, where we watch every episode of Nitro sequentially.
Fuck
And
yeah.
so I'm continuing. This is very on brand for me.
Very Nitro Party.
To be on the Nitro Party. I always wanted to send in a Nitro Party tape back in the day.
Yeah.
And my friends and I we always had like big plans, like, oh, we'll get together. You'll be Kevin Nash, I'll be Sting, and never did it. But what a brilliant idea that was. I'm surprised AEW isn't encouraging AEW parties. I guess no one really meets up anymore to watch wrestling, which is a problem.
It is. It is a problem. Also, I feel like a Dynamite party would be weird. It would just be
I
a
guess
thing,
well, I mean,
Yeah.
a Monday night party. How much weirder is a Wednesday night party
That's
than a
true.
Monday night party?
That is. I feel like if you called it a Dynamite party, or if you called it a Collision party, or if you called it a Rampage party, everyone would be like, "There's a lot of rape there." Like that's what that is.
Yeah.
Like that's
I guess
Definitely Coke. That's
yeah,
what
a
that
lot
is.
of coke, a lot of cocaine.
collision would be more suited to it.
Yeah, yeah.
A collision camp out. You got to do the alliteration.
I like that. I like that. A collision camp out. That could be fun. That actually would work.
Get the projector, folks. It's summertime. Camp out outside and watch Collision. Send us your tapes.
Love that you just dropped in there with game show voice. It's
That's
amazing.
my Casey.
Yeah, yeah. So we yeah, dude, we with the Monday Nitro episodes, like what a mixed bag Monday Nitro was over the years. Like it's one of those things where like when they were good, they were amazing, but when they were bad, they were hilarious.
Yeah, and it starts out really bad because, well, like I said, we're going week to week, so we're in 95 still. We just got up to Halloween Havoc, man versus giant, machine versus machine.
Oh God, the monster
Ooh.
trucks.
Yeah, we're in that era, so it's very exciting. We're about to watch the pay-per-view, so it's been very bad, but also then they have incredible wrestling with like Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko, while the announcers spend the whole time talking about Hulk Hogan, but the wrestling itself is fucking incredible. So
I love that.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, I miss those days because the place that I grew up in was a place in Washington State, a little small town, and we would never get WWE unless it was a house show, but Nitro was still slumming it enough in the early days that we would get the Nitros at our local arena that held
Nice.
it was hilarious because it held like 4,000 people or something like that, and it still wasn't sold out, but it was one of those things. They were like, all right, well, we're doing real hard cam stuff here, so we would show like the one really full area, and our town was full of wrestling fans because we just didn't have that many people there, but we were full of wrestling fans. So like when you had a show from our hometown, like the crowd was into it and it looked like it was full. But
WCW crowds were always way more into it, always. And I have to say, the people watching is incredible because they do hit these B and C towns, and like I'm just looking in the crowd. It's a lot of wonderful looking people.
Mhm. Josh,
yeah, did you go? Josh, have you ever been to a WCW? I never got to go because I lived in New York. So I mean, I went to
No.
plenty of Raws as a kid, but I never went to a Nitro.
I've never went to one, but I just reminded when you watched the early days of TNA and all the people down there.
Oh,
were
TNA,
hilarious.
forget it. TNA was
Yeah.
next level, especially at the Nashville Fairgrounds, like the first
dude.
2 weeks. Like, oh, they put their crowds put WCW to shame.
Dude, TNA early on, NWA TNA, when it was that, and it was still like very territorial in that sense. Like you would see, it's like these people literally just got off the fucking midway from the fair. Like these people still have elephant ear
I
in
loved
their
it.
teeth. Like,
Yeah, the cotton candy on them.
yeah, it was great. So I do miss that stuff, and that's like, when it comes to stuff now, like there was just a WWE event in White Plains, which kind of shocked me because it was a WWE Super Show. So it was one of those ones where it was like Raw and SmackDown, like, all the people coming through, but it was at fucking White Plains, and I'm like, really? Like of all places?
Is that the Mid Hudson Civic Center? Is that what that
I think so. I think is what it was.
Poughkeepsie?
No, what was it called? It was a Civic Center, but I don't remember exactly which one.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying. But they come to New York like New York City proper. They come they just had SmackDown here like 2 weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
that.
Yeah, I get that. Like that, they're usually either at like MSG, they've done Hammerstein.
I think there's a MSG show like next month. That's
right.
why.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is for the this is for the upstate market, right? White Plains is more it's the Westchester County Center.
Yeah, it's like, so like even White Plains, like you could literally just still go to White Plains on a regular MTA transit thing. Like it's not even outside of technically. I mean, like it is technically outside.
It's an hour like from my house driving, and I live in Brooklyn. So yeah, it's not
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right. It's pretty close.
It's up there.
Also, it's where I believe they would do all the Superstars tapings back in the day. Like that was one of their home bases.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can say this. I looked at the lineup and it was actually a pretty decent show. Like the matches on the card were pretty decent. You had Cody Rhodes versus Finn Balor in a street fight. You had Seth Rollins doing his first defense of the title against The Miz. Which that's fucking random. The Miz just all of a sudden gets the world title shot, but whatever.
Yeah, that is weird.
He's the only sort of top guy available to do the road, willing to job. Like that's really, I think, well, it is.
It's kind of, yeah, it's really is what it is. So I mean, they had some good top matches on it. And so I'm happy actually that they are branching out a little bit more, because I know they were doing like Albany and Syracuse and stuff like that. That's like far upstate, but I'm kind of glad they're branching out, because AEW is doing their House Rules house shows. And the lineups for those, dude, those are straight up dark elevation. Like they're just like, you're not getting high level people there. You're getting the B squad and the C squad for sure on those shows.
I mean, like Orange Cassidy, I would say is A, but like that, you're only gonna get like one or two kind of like AEW developed top guys. You're not gonna get. Moxley will do some shows, but.
Yeah, wasn't Chris Statlander? Jesus Christ,
that's a
Statlander.
completely different one.
Yes,
that. What movie was I watching? Shit. Yeah, she was on the show. She was skateboarding.
She did. Yeah, she just got one, which is cool.
The game.
Yeah, I'm happy, dude. Seeing Statlander come back and win the title made me happy. Like I was ready for Jade to drop the title anyway, but having Chris Statlander come back and do it, that was pretty cool. Like, I was a big fan.
And to your point, I think they like the House Rules shows, they're priced like B and C. How they're not like a WWE house show. The tickets aren't that much cheaper than going to a SmackDown taping or Raw. Like to get good seats, you're spending over $100 a ticket.
Really?
House Rules, like House Rules, like even at the White Plains. House Rules, I think tickets are like $20 to $50, so it's a much more reasonable.
Oh, that's dope.
They price it to the lineup.
Nice.
And I will say for WWE, if you want to see WWE live, the tier list for me of events to attend: number one, pay-per-views. You're gonna get the best action. You're gonna get like actual like 20-minute work rate top guy matches. Best. Number two, house shows. House shows are, and honestly, I might even say number one, house shows, because they're so fun. The wrestlers are having fun. Vince McMahon isn't, it's not on TV. They could just be themselves and like dick around and like they play to the crowd. When you go to a pay-per-view or a Raw or a SmackDown, you are basically the studio audience at a TV taping. They never play to you. They play to the cameras. At the house show, they're there for you. So that's why it's so much fun. And then SmackDown, then Raw. Don't go to Raw. Raw is the worst. It's too long.
I've been to, I don't think I've been to a Raw that's been enjoyable since. This is going to be fucked up. The last time I went to a Raw that was enjoyable was the day that Robin Williams died. Like, it was that. And I found out after the show, I was like, oh no. Because it was like,
I mean, how memorable could it have been if you just remember, oh, that was the day Robin, that's how you remember that day. It wasn't the day you went to Raw.
The only reason I even remember it because of this is because it was Hulk Hogan's birthday celebration or something like that. And it was when like the NWO came out, and like it was a full nostalgia show. And it was from Portland, Oregon. I do remember that for sure because I brought one of my homies with me that had never been to a Raw show. So he goes there and he's getting like the whole treatment. It's the Hulk Hogan thing, like you're getting all the nostalgia, and it's the shit.
Was that the one where like Brock Lesnar comes in and like eyes him down?
Yeah,
that was really cool.
That was exactly that one. And also we had seats that were like 3 rows back. So it was super close seats. Like it was the shit. And then as soon as it's over, I look at my phone and my phone is just exploding with text messages from my friends going, dude, Robin Williams died. And I'm like, fuck. Immediately destroyed that moment. But it was just like the Raw itself was incredible to see live. But that was such a specific type of a Raw because of the Hulk Hogan celebration and nostalgia and all that. You
don't get that star power every week. Yeah, that's a special one for sure. But I've been to a few, and it's just I've been to ones the day after a pay-per-view, and just once you hit that third hour, it's like let's go.
Yeah.
And it's just the matches there's no action. It's all talking. With SmackDown is all action. It's 2 hours. They usually have one really good match in the first hour, a decent match, and then a great main event. They always have a really, really good main event. So it feels like you get your money's worth. Last time I was actually in White Plains for a house show. That was the last house show I ever went to. And the way it's memorable to me is that it was a Monday night house show. And so it was the SmackDown crew.
Okay.
And all of the sudden, 1 or 2 matches in, everyone is on their phones, everyone is texting, and my buddy turns to me and says, Roman Reigns just announced he has leukemia or whatever that was.
Fuck.
Like where like that it's resurfaced and he has to like leave. And it kind of tainted the whole, like we're not paying attention to the show where everyone's on their phone. And it's so crazy how everyone in the venue knew. The news just spread. You could see everyone's talking about something. What's going on? I'm going to check my phone. It's very crazy.
Damn.
So, Josh, you went to WrestleMania and talk about a fucking endurance test.
Oh my God. I was
through WrestleMania.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say the Raw at the Barclays Center. When was it? October. Although I was worried, 3-hour fucking Raw, but that one was really good. That one was very entertaining. That was after Extreme Rules, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But the problem with the 3-hour Raw, just sitting there is, I remember I've been to Raws before. I think it was the one where Vince McMahon got arrested or whatever. It was hot in the beginning, but
sure.
When they'll come back from commercial and then they'll play a whole video thing and then they go to commercial again. And it's just, you're sitting there. You're just like, when something's going to happen.
That's right. It's a TV taping. That's what I mean. It's not, they don't care that the crowd is sitting there for 20 minutes with not being entertained.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that was the last time I went to a Raw there, and I just did not care to go back since. I was like, I am not doing this again. That's when I went to I went to 3 AEW shows. I went to UBS twice, I believe, and I also went to both of the ones at in Queens.
Arthur Ashe.
Yeah, the Arthur Ashe, Jesus Christ. What if you want to talk about marathons? Although the matches were good. Holy shit.
Did you go to the both Arthur Ashe shows?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
The
first one I was much more tolerable with the marathon. The second one I left. I couldn't stand it. And there was a part where I was like, oh, I'm not enjoying myself. This is starting to feel like torture. I should feel like I'm enjoying myself. I'm gonna leave.
I think everyone was watching the Hobbs match in the exit aisle. Can we just end this and just leave? There was people already leaving during that.
I feel like with the other one, they kept you around because CM Punk wrestled late and Moxley closed the show. So it was all right. Yeah, I've been to I got addicted to AEW, and I went like because they
Mhm.
took so long to get to the East Coast. Once they finally got here, I basically went to every show within driving distance. Like I went to the Queens ones, I would go to the Philly ones. I went to one in DC and brought some family out, and I was like, this is good wrestling. This is not like the embarrass because I don't know
Yeah.
why is it that whenever you're watching wrestling with other people around, you know, they never walk in on the good stuff. They never walk in on a Kenny Omega match or something like that. They always walk in on fucking Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club segment or something
Right.
along
Yeah.
those lines.
Or
Yeah,
Undertaker
and I'm
getting
like-
jumped
and-
by the
yeah, and I'm like,
Taliban.
no. I agree that this is cringe.
Yeah.
This is not why I watch it.
Or if they do walk into a Kenny Omega match, it's Kenny Omega versus a sex doll. It's just
Yeah.
like, fuck,
Right,
you walked
right,
into
right.
the
Like,
one
oh,
Kenny
yeah.
Omega match. The one Kenny Omega match. God damn it. So we actually do have a lot of cool shit going on in wrestling right now. I mean, we're taping this before Raw, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen on Raw, but I have a question for both of you because I'm in a weird camp on this one. So we have Seth Rollins doing the open challenge thing, and his open challenge pretty quickly got answered by Damian Priest. So I think we all understand that Damian Priest is not going to win, but it's still probably going to be a good match, right?
Yeah.
Is that pretty much we're all on the same on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his first television title. He's not losing.
It is actually, yeah.
My thing with that whole open challenge thing, I feel like this is their answer to the AEW World Championship in a weird way, where you know, they're gonna count wins and losses more, like especially emphasize the wins and actually have quality wrestling matches. I'm assuming that's why they gave the title to Rollins first. But yeah, I think we're gonna see a way different version of a world champion than we have with, you know, the tribal chief going on.
I mean, they
SmackDown.
said it. This is the working man's title. Or
Yeah.
whatever. This is the work rate belt. So yeah, I'm okay with the open challenge because it just means that we're gonna get a Seth Rollins match on TV every week, and I would much rather have a Seth Rollins match than a Seth Rollins talking segment.
Yes, I agree with that part.
Because he is much better at wrestling. Not that he's bad at talking, but it could be a little overbearing and redundant and trimmed down a bit. So I'm down for matches, and I think with the open challenge format, while yes, it's obvious who the winner is going to be, it allows him to wrestle guys that he normally wouldn't be in there with. Like, I'd love to see a Seth Rollins Chad Gable match, or
That would be great.
Like guys in the mid card that were like Nakamura, or which he's a main event guy, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
just have all of these random matches that he's not necessarily working a program with this person, but it'll be a fun match. And I think WWE needs more of that. They're a little repetitive with having the same people working against each other week after week. That's another reason I kind of stopped watching Raw. I don't watch it live. I will just scan through it the next morning, or like see what's uploaded to YouTube.
Catch the replays.
I can't do it with the commercials and everything.
No.
It's a lot.
Which again, SmackDown totally doable, but
Yeah.
Raw is not.
SmackDown, you can just brush right. You can go right through it because it's usually pretty much like, I mean, at least 75% of it's like high quality.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's so little TV time, they really don't waste on garbage. So yeah, I think it will make Raw more tolerable, and it will at least fill those minutes with some action.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Half of me is on your side, Rob. Half of me is very happy that we're going to have some matches, and then we're going to have
the better
Seth.
half, I hope.
Yeah, yes. But I am happy with that part because I do want to see Seth work with more people. I do want to see more people step up to the plate, and also it could be one of those things where Triple H might get a wild hair up his ass and be like, you know what, this is going to be the dude going forward, and we get surprised with somebody that wins. Like, that never happens really anymore. So if that does happen, like, that would be dope. It's not going to be Damian Priest, but like whoever it is that they decide, like, you know what, this is going to be the dude. That I do like. But then on the other half of me is also on the MJF side of things, like he said at the media scrum, where somebody straight up asked him, would you ever do an open challenge with the world championship? And he's like, why in the fuck would I do that? He's like, this is something that you like earn. You earn a shot at the world championship. He's like, do the open challenges with those other titles. But this one, you have to, you have to build up to, you have to climb a ladder, you have to actually earn your shot at a world championship. So why in the fuck would I do an open challenge so just anybody can step up to it? That's not how that works. So it's like, on one hand of it, yes, I agree with him, but on the other hand of it also, I think with WWE, it kind of feels like it needs it, because like kind of like you were saying, Josh, like with the Roman Reigns thing, he fucking 1,000 days, but like not
28 defenses or whatever.
Yeah, like
they already have that with Roman Reigns. You like that title is the Roman Reigns title, the one that MJF is describing. So this is the opposite of that, because they want something for the house shows. They want something when Roman is. They want every pay-per-view to have a world title match, is what I gather. So
which I'm down with. I like that.
Yeah. It is weird when there is a pay-per-view without a world title match, but all of their pay-per-views have been great, world title match or not, so it's been fine. Like, like this last pay-per-view, there wasn't a world like he was on the show.
It was wildly good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Even though it was his 1,000th day as champion. So they're a tailor-made story for a title defense. They still decided not to do it, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter. If the story is good, WWE is fine. They're never about the sports aspect of it. It's not like a New Japan.
No, man, when WWE puts on a good story, it's an untouchable type of thing. Like, nobody does a good story better when they do a good story. Like, the thing with the bloodline and everything, like the way that this has played out has been picture perfect. Like, every single beat has hit properly. And like the new wrinkle that they put into it with the Usos, and Roman and Solo kind of going off on their side thing, like that adds just another layer to it, which I think is cool as hell, because it very clearly is leading up to Solo eventually siding with his brothers. But like, it's still this whole story of like, how far are you going to have to push Solo before he snaps? Because he's like kind of the rock of the whole thing. Not like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, but like he's the anchor. So how far are you going to have to push him before he snaps and finally just obliterates Roman, which is what's going to happen. Like, when he does snap, he's going to fucking destroy Roman. Not necessarily in a match, but when he turns, I think Solo is just going to steamroll him, which I think is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I can't even see that happening for like they're moving so slowly. They give you a tiny little sliver every week.
Little nugget.
I feel like if this was a different era, it would be like, this last week, it would be both Jimmy and Jay would have turned on him, and there would have been 5 turns by the end of SmackDown.
Yeah.
But now it's like you just got one thing where Jimmy is out of the bloodline, and now what's Jay gonna do? That's the next chapter.
Yeah.
But you know what Jay's gonna do? He's gonna side with Jimmy. And that's the other thing. It's been very predictable, but the predictability of it is making it even more entertaining.
It's been fun.
You know exactly where it's going, and you want to see how it gets there.
Yeah. Josh, what's your favorite current storyline situation going on right now?
Current storyline situation? Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else going on that I'm like, holy shit over. Although, not for nothing, this Forbidden Door this year, the stuff that they just set up this past weekend is amazing. I love it a lot compared to last year. Like, last year was cool, but this year was like way cooler. Like, for some reason with me, I did not expect Bryan Danielson versus Okada matchup. And I just, when I heard that, I was like, oh, that is amazing. So I was like, holy, I obviously I lost my shit with that. And then yeah, it's that pay-per-view I'm definitely buying. I'm looking forward to that. Come to my house if you want.
Oh yeah.
What was the other one again? Why I can't think of it right now.
The other pay-per-view?
No, the other match that they also was pretty much setting up.
Ospreay versus
Omega.
Yeah.
So the rematch for them.
I'm so excited. I'm flying out for that. I just bought tickets when they went on sale, because I went last year to a Forbidden Door. I had the lucky fortune of going to 4 AEW pay-per-views last year. Like I said, I kind of went a little overboard. And I agree. The build for Forbidden Door sucked. I was almost like, oh man, like I've been kind of blowing a lot of money on these wrestling tickets. Maybe I should have skipped this one. Like, I don't know. I don't like going in. I was like, I don't know if this will be as good. because also Double or Nothing was good, but it wasn't as good. Like Revolution was fucking insane. So I was already like, but Forbidden Door last year was the best pay-per-view of the year, in my opinion. So, and that was with a shitty build. And right now we're starting with an incredible build. Like these two matches are gonna deliver. Like it is virtually impossible for these matches not to be like instant 5-star classics. You know, it's just, there would have to be like some sort of injury or something to prevent them from going all out, and no pun intended. So yeah, I'm very excited. It's going to be awesome. I can't even imagine what else. Like who's CM Punk going to face? Who's MJF going to face?
Yeah. I was thinking Punk might do that match where they wanted to. It was going to be him Tanahashi last year. I'm thinking they're just going to go with that. But they also suggested MJF versus Tanahashi, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing. I wouldn't know who would MJF face in New Japan.
Who's the New Japan champion right now? Like the head. It's
the IWGP champion. So he has his own faction, poorly named Just Five Guys. Faction of five dudes.
How in the fuck is Orange Cassidy not in that stable? You know what I mean?
Well, he's with Okada technically. He's in Chaos. So I could see it being like MJF picking a group of people and Sonata against Sonata's crew. So that way they don't have to put the world titles on the line. Because I don't know who MJF could face.
Well, even if they didn't do title on the line, they could still do champion versus champion. But also, if they do that,
how would they end that? Who would take the fall?
Right, because they you'd have to have some fuckery involved in order for it to be justifiable for either one of them to quote unquote take a fall. But I don't see MJF taking the fall at all as far as that goes. But the other thing with Forbidden Door is that like all these matches coming up, like first off, did either of you see Okada versus Claudio?
I didn't see the 6-man tag yet. I was actually going to watch that tonight.
Yeah, just the little clips and stuff that I saw looks like it was fantastic.
Yeah, so I want to see. I heard that Ishii and Moxley had an exchange where Ishii did a leaping headbutt into Moxley, so I want to see that.
Yeah, Moxley actually he started bleeding just during the stare down. So like I'm like this is also another thing. This is another thing I have to mention. When Blackpool Combat Club, when they first started as a heel faction, I was really not on board. I was kind of like, all right, this feels forced. But like now that it's had some time to cook, it may be my favorite heel faction in all of wrestling.
Terrible name, great faction.
Yeah, once Regal was gone, the Blackpool Combat Club thing should have just fucked off. But like,
think about Brian made it a lot better, to be honest. Like the second heel turn with them, to me is a lot better than the last time.
Yeah, Bryan Daniels' heel turn on this one, like his current heel run, has been amazing. Because it's like a side of him as a heel that I don't think anybody has really seen before, and he's straight up nasty. Like he's the meanest and evilest that he's ever been, like I think in his entire career, and it's also extremely natural, like feeling and sounding. So I am fully on board for pretty much anything that Blackpool Combat Club's doing right now. So I think with Forbidden Door coming up, I think they can do no wrong with it as far as they go.
Agreed.
Do we have who do we think the Bullet Club is going to be going up against? Because now we got like multiple Bullet Clubs going on.
Yeah, something with a Bullet Club Gold versus the new Bullet Club going on right now, which I don't really care for.
Bullet Club.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of new guys from the dojo. And they just haven't, I don't believe them, they haven't established themselves enough yet. But, it's kind of crazy too, how like we're very clearly in this rebuilding period for New Japan, where they're trying to push all these noobs.
They are.
It's a little exciting. It also kind of makes me feel old that I've now lived through like 2 cycles of New Japan. So now I'm on the 3rd cycle. But Jay White, like, still they deliver. I was
gonna say Jay White was one of the young lions. Like
exactly, yeah. Like
that's when I was watching it, like way back. Yeah. And now he's in AEW all grown up.
Now he's got like he's got gray beard hair. Like
Yeah,
it's just like
weird.
like God damn it. So that's also another question. So with this being with Forbidden Door being a dual pay-per-view between New Japan and AEW, with Jay White technically being kicked out of New Japan, is he going to be on the pay-per-view? Or like how's the storyline situation with that going to go, you think? Do you think they're going to try to pull any shit, or do you think they're going to let him do the event?
No, I think he's going to be a part of it for sure. But I get what you're saying with the storyline of him not being allowed on New Japan events. Maybe he kind of breaks in or something like that. But I think they are soft setting up a feud with him and David Finlay.
That's what it feels like.
Finlay's the new leader of the club.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. I don't know. I would rather Jay White just do something cool with someone else.
Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Finlay, but
no,
he's not my favorite. And I love Jay White.
The only thing I could think of is if he's not on the show at all, but he does interfere, make it look like he just went in with Juice and just beat the shit out of them, maybe like during the pay-per-view. I don't know. But then how do you set up a future match unless that maybe sets up something with New Japan with their events down the line and they just make an exception? I don't know, but could be a thing, could not be a thing.
I mean, it is interesting also, and you could have Juice and you could have Juice and Jay White come in there, which by the way, I really fucking hate Juice Robinson's name. It's like every time I say it, I'm like, no, I don't like it. I've never liked it. I'm just like,
Juice.
No. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Just call him by his nickname.
Yeah, just call him by. Yeah, it's fair.
Call him
but
by his
NXT. I would, you know what, I would go with that. But I think if they did a thing where like both of them were masked, you know, like they were doing that bullshit where they're wearing like a ski mask or whatever it is, like, you know, a baklava or whatever. Not a baklava, you know what I mean? Like that's a completely different thing.
Yeah,
but wearing one of the head.
Hungry.
Yeah, wearing one of the fucking head things to come in there and just destroy them and then peace out through the crowd, and then have it being like a reoccurring thing where these dudes show up, just, you know, lay waste to them and then peace out. Where it's like we can't prove that it's them, but it might be. And then just play around with it for a little while until they can figure out what to do with that whole thing. Because I don't think it's going to be a thing where Jay White ever like for sure comes back to New Japan like for real. But I think it might be a thing where they kind of try to set something up to where he's going to be there, like, you know, in and out for various different things. Because that whole Bullet Club versus Bullet Club thing, I agree with you. I think they're kind of soft setting that up. Which could, I mean, listen, I feel like if anybody's going to pull a good match out of Finlay, it's going to be Jay White. So Finlay's just boring to me. So hopefully they do pull out the good match on that. But speaking of somebody that bored me, this actually goes to a thing that I think is going to be good. Samoa Joe versus Zack Sabre Jr. I'm not a Zack Sabre Jr. fan at all in ring.
Oh,
I'm just not a fan of his style. What's that?
You're missing out.
No, I've watched a bunch of his matches, but I'm just like, all right, I could be doing anything else, but like him versus Samoa Joe, though, I think is going to be a good match because there's the style contrast, but also Samoa Joe can tap into his technical stuff, but then he can also tap into being just a destroyer. So you're going to get that whole thing, and they're going to unify the titles. So that's going to be interesting. That's coming up on the Ring of Honor. Death Before Dishonor, I think, is the next one coming up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I didn't realize they were going to unify the titles. That's really interesting.
Yeah. It's going to be title versus title, so they're going to unify the television titles. So that's going to be a good one too. I think that looks like it's going to be good. And if I remember right, I'm going to look it up right now because I didn't prepare for this when I was talking about it. Death Before Dishonor actually already has a few matches announced.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm going to look right now because if I remember correctly, all of them were awesome. And it feels like Tony Khan's actually doing something with ROH again. Which
at least he's trying. Well,
yeah.
I've heard the shows. I mean, I haven't really watched the shows like, you know, every week or whatever, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. No one's had a bad review on any of them.
Right. So, there hasn't been anything that's been
it seems like there's a lot of effort into making this as good or maybe even better than previous Ring of Honor. which is, still up in the air about that. But yeah.
Yeah. Let me see.
You're looking for the pay-per-view matches?
Yeah, they literally just announced a couple of them. But yeah, one of them, like I said, one of them was the Samoa Joe versus Zack Sabre Jr. thing. And it might have been a thing where they're not announcing it fully yet. It might have been at the tapings. That might have been what it was. But like I said, Zack Sabre Jr., I feel like if anybody's going to pull a really fun match out of him, it's going to be Samoa Joe. And I like their style contrasts a
It's
lot.
such a weird person to say that to, but like I always feel like Zack delivers. So it's like, oh, for someone finally pulls a good match out of him.
You're like,
I think what I like about him is his match is unlike any other match on the show. It's a total, like, you have to deal with his snake submissions, and so it kind of forces you to have his match. And I always appreciate guys like that, like him, Suzuki, but I could see how it's boring. He actually just had an amazing match with Jeff Cobb on the Dominion show this weekend on the New Japan card, because the TV title matches in New Japan have a 15-minute time limit. And if there's no winner within 15 minutes, they do a coin flip, so you can lose your child. Like, there's no champion's advantage here.
Could lose a coin flip.
They're very exciting matches, and to your point, it doesn't go longer than 15 minutes, so you can't get too bored of Zack Sabre.
It's weird because, like, I like technical wrestlers. I do. Like, I always used to love when William Regal or Steven Regal, whenever you're watching him, would go through like the actual technical stuff in a match where he would put on the holds and he would do all the things. And I also love when like Pete Dunne would do that and he would start doing joint manipulation and stuff.
Yeah.
I think the reason that I don't like Zack Sabre Jr.'s stuff is because he does it so slowly and so methodically that it's just like there's too much setup to the manipulation holds, to the point where when he's finally got the hold in, it's like, fucking finally, like, that type of thing. But again, he is definitely he's got a shitload of fans, and the people that are fans of him, much like yourself, are very big fans of his work. Like, so it's definitely.
I understand your criticism. I don't think it is mean-spirited or invalid. You're not Disco Infernoing here.
No, I Disco Inferno, only Disco Inferno, in fact. Do not like Glenn. Not a fan. But speaking of AEW and all that stuff, Fight Forever, the game coming up, man, it keeps on dropping more and more stuff about the game as it leads up to release. How are you guys feeling on the Fight Forever game so far?
I'm already sold on it. So, I mean, they can announce everything. I'm like, I'm for it.
Have you already pre-ordered
the old school? I have not. So, but I have preloaded it on my Xbox because I have the Game Pass Ultimate. So if you have that membership, it comes with AEW Fight Forever. So you save $70, and I literally have it downloaded already now on my Xbox. So I'm gonna be playing the game. Now, my thing is, I do want to buy it, but the preferred system that I'd like to buy it on is my Steam Deck. I don't know if you guys know what the Steam Deck is. Yeah. So like you could buy it on Steam on PC, but I'd like to prefer to buy it on there so I can also play it on my Steam Deck, which is basically a handheld PC. So it's not just, although it's coming on Nintendo Switch, the Steam Deck, it would look a lot better, first of all, on handheld because it's a computer and you can dock it and play it anywhere with friends or whatever. So that's my preferred method of play, but my problem is they haven't really said if it's technically supported by Steam Deck, so I'm getting a little worried about that.
Are there games that are on Steam that aren't on Steam Deck?
Yeah. There's certain games that aren't allowed because of, like, let's say certain like anti-cheat software or whatever that they have installed in the game. It does not run on Steam Deck. So if you try to run it, then you're just gonna get banned. So that's why there's some blocks with it. It's kind of annoying sometimes. But I am excited for the game. All the matches look really cool. Kind of reminds me of No Mercy with the health bar and everything. I know it's gonna be fun. It looks fun. I don't, when a game is fun, who cares about graphics? Like, I literally play SmackDown versus Raw 2006 on my Steam Deck still.
Yeah,
and here comes the pain. Like,
are are idiots or just bad
Yeah.
because it's like
Right.
this game isn't about the graphics. It's like
No.
I still if I get really bored, I play the WWF Attitude game or the first SmackDown game, and those graphics are fucking horrible. But they're still fun, or ECW Anarchy Rules, which not everyone's favorite, but I love that game because the game
I
was
feel
so
like that's the
silly.
hottest. That's one of the hottest takes that you've ever had. Is that like
Yeah.
when I get
No
really
one likes
bored,
that
I
game.
play Anarchy Rules. It's just
I
like,
do.
yeah. Rob, what are you feeling about the game, Rob? From what you've seen so far?
I'm honestly not that much of a gamer. I always find myself to be too stoned to get the controls. So the fact that they're advertising simple controls is very appealing to me because I loved playing like the PlayStation games and like PlayStation 1, and No Mercy. I do have very fond memories of those, especially a game, like a bunch of your friends are over, you do like a battle royal or a Royal Rumble. So that stuff is fun. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm a little bummed out about the limited roster. It looks like they only have like 30 people or something. I don't know if it's 30, but it's not going to be everyone.
No.
And that's to me the most fun thing. I feel like that's how, like, if you're not necessarily a wrestling person,
Sure,
you just go through and pick the coolest looking person. So the more people you have, the more fun that would be. But it doesn't seem that they have that. So that's a bummer. But I'm very much looking forward to it. I've been playing WWE 2K23. I just want to quickly say, and the only thing I've been playing on it is the My GM mode, which is like their fantasy football mode.
that's fair. Yeah.
Which this game does not have.
No.
It does not have that. No, it does not.
So I guess I'll have to do actual wrestling.
God.
Yeah.
You can do one of the dozen mini games that they have, which we don't know what those are going to be yet. But
okay.
They have like that's also a weird thing. I want to mention that because well, Josh, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say as far as the limited roster thing, I could be wrong, but I saw a video of them showing a store, like a download DLC store, and it kind of reminded me of like games like Fortnite where you can get stuff in a way, like think they could push things out
already. Yeah, like a Hookhausen DLC pack.
And also they showed stuff like Young Bucks different attire. So like for example, we have the after Forbidden Door, whatever they wear, they're gonna drop their attire from a Forbidden Door to download for $5. It might be a pay to play thing. I mean, you're just paying for like cosmetics, but I do feel like they will be pushing out updates on this game for a while because we all freaking waited for so long for it. Like for example, obviously the arena is not updated by now. I think that will come out.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think that will come out probably for free. They'll be like, that's going to be out soon. And I think with certain new roster updates, they'll push it out that way, but you would have to like buy it or something like that. I feel like that could be a thing. I could be totally wrong, but I think that would fix that problem.
So I've seen two things. I've seen, yes, they do have some DLC packs, like they have the FTR, they have the Hookhausen thing, and then pre-order bonus, they have the Hardys, like they have the Matt Hardy pack. Jeff Hardy's already in the game, but for whatever reason, you have to pre-order it for Matt Hardy. But
yeah,
also,
what a weird pre-order.
It was a strange one. So I know they're going to do DLC packs, and also here's something that kind of is irritating to me with the DLC packs because it feels like you're getting less characters and more side bullshit because you're getting like extra mini games and like extra like attires or whatever, but you're only getting 2 roster additions. So that's kind of weird to me. But the thing that you were talking about, Josh, where like there's also things where they're going to be adding content and stuff like that. What they do have is they have an in-game currency that is not one that you have to actually pay for. So like it's not like you have to pay $5 to get these people or whatever. It's that you play the game and progress in the game and you get the digital currency that's in the actual AEW shop. Like, so you can unlock like Paul White. It's very much like No Mercy in that sense.
But then also, I'm sure you'll be able to buy this digital currency.
Of course, yeah. You'll probably be able to do like they do with My Faction and stuff like that. But like with this one, I know like you can unlock Paul White and Aubrey Edwards as both playable. like in the digital store thing for the in-game currency, which I think it's hilarious that you can and great that you can get Aubrey Edwards as a playable character. Like she can go in and finally just fuck up all the people that have been throwing the referee around. Like so she can just stick them in there and do that. But a specific question, have you guys seen the screenshot of the exploding barbed wire death match? Have you seen it, Josh?
Yeah.
Rob, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Dude, that actually really sold me because I thought that it was kind of going to be, I thought it was going to be like, you know, cool looking, but it's like, it's really cool looking to me. Like they really went all out with the barbed wire, like barbed wire boards, barbed wire ropes, barbed wire all over the fucking place, which
the weapons look really fun.
Yeah. Like throwing a Molotov cocktail at somebody to break up a fucking pin. That's hilarious to me. And I love it.
Remember when Justin Roberts had barbed wire all over his microphone? Like, it was the all barbed wire. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, it kind of did. Barbed wire massacre or whatever it's called.
I like that. I like the screenshot. I'm excited to play that kind of match. My only thing is like with Fire Pro Wrestling.
Oh yeah, Fire Pro.
They had something like that, but the one thing that I got annoyed with was like you couldn't leave the ring. You know, so like
if you were
able, you can't really leave the ring. You could toss people out the ring and they'll explode. Can
leave the ring in this. I've seen it in the
Yeah.
So you can leave the ring in this. Okay, so cool. All right.
Yeah,
I was a little worried that you
absolutely
couldn't. Yeah.
So you can leave the ring and you can like run all the way up on the stage and everything. Like you can do all that shit.
Yeah. No, I meant during the barbed wire match.
Oh, specifically during the barbed wire match.
Yeah, because in Fire Pro you can't really do that. You could throw someone out, explosion, and then they slowly roll back in. But you can't really get out the ring and fight with weapons or anything like that. Most of it stays in the ring. That's why I was a little worried about seeing that and being like, okay, maybe I can't leave the ring during this match, and I hope not, because that would suck. You know, but
that could be interesting.
We'll see.
Well, the one thing I will say, like all of it looks good. I would say like 99% of it looks good. There's only one glaring omission in the game that I've seen that is very weird, is that they have not confirmed in any way, shape, or form that there will be a steel cage match. And I feel like that kind of is a staple in any wrestling game. Like, and they just, none of the screenshots of the menu indicate that there's a steel cage match. Like nothing. It just, and I feel like on the very last minute, they're going to be like, oh, and also we don't have a steel cage match. Sorry. Like, just going to be like, all right.
That would be an odd omission.
It feels weird. It feels like a weird one to take out.
I think you can't even play a trios match in the game, which is very weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They didn't have a 6-man thing.
Nope.
Wait, fuck. Did they?
No.
I don't know. I was looking.
Somebody brought that up immediately. They were like, you could do a 3-way, I think maybe a 4-way, and then that's it. It's like limitations. But then they also have a battle royal.
They have a battle royal though.
I think it's the limitations of how many people are in the ring.
Oh yeah.
Like it reminds me of the older games where like only 4 were allowed.
Gotcha.
So I'm assuming that's why.
Yeah, I think it's so I think what this is I think it's going to be a really good base to have a cool game moving forward. Like, I think that's going to be kind of a cool thing if they're going to keep on building on it. And especially if it's going to be one of those things where they just continuously update it with stuff. I think that's going to be dope. Because, like, we were talking about the graphical thing before. I'll tell you what, one of my favorite games for a wrestling game, it looks even shittier than Anarchy Rules, but it's so much more fun, is Wrestling Empire. Dude, the one I have it on Switch.
I play that.
It's so fun.
You have it on the Switch? We got to play that.
Yeah, dude, I have it on the Switch. Rob, have you ever played Wrestling Empire?
No, I'm looking it up right now. I've never heard of it.
It's
very silly.
Insane.
It is the shitties of wrestling games.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
It's so fun and it's so ridiculous and everybody looks like shit. Like all the characters are just like blocky and shitty looking, but also you can have how many people in the ring? You can have like fucking 20 people, 20, 30 people in the ring at one time. You can have the entire ring full of dynamite and you can be doing this giant match full of dynamite and people inside of Vince McMahon's office. Like it's ridiculous.
Every wrestler in that game is like a bootleg of somebody in real life.
Yeah.
Like you have Triple L or something like you have people that look exactly like them, but with the funkiest names like Hunter Hearst, you know, stuff like that. And you make your own character, and while you're coming out to the ring, you could literally do whatever you want during your entrance, which I think is hilarious. I could jump on like the what is it, like the gate where the audience is. I could just jump on that randomly if I wanted to and throw shit and then just run into the ring. It's silly.
You can jump into the audience and start beating up the fucking audience members, just like kicking people and stuff. And the game costs like $10. Like it's one of those games where it's just super cheap. It's probably one of the most just like legitimately just fun wrestling games, and the controls are the simplest controls in the world. It's like it's beyond pick up and play. Like it's fucking awesome. So if you've never done that, definitely jump down that rabbit hole, Rob. So we got next pay-per-view coming up is going to be for WWE anyway, is going to be Money in the Bank, which they're not going to be doing the world champion, they're not going to be doing that new gold undisputed universal championship thing, but it's almost certainly going to be Roman and Solo versus the Usos, which is almost certain on that. They're starting to do the qualifying matches and stuff. And who do you guys think is going to win the Money in the Bank so far?
I think it's going to be Cody.
You think it'll be Cody?
I think this is how he gets back to Roman.
Interesting. Okay. Josh, what do you think?
I'd like LA Knight to win it because I see LA Knight with a briefcase even more hilarious. For months, just walking around with the briefcase, giving
people
not knowing when. I think that would make him. He's already entertaining. And I used to not like him, but like with him with the briefcase, I think is even better. It just adds more to the show in general with him on it, and it gives him more TV time. So, you don't know what he's gonna do with it, but at least you have him being more fun on television with the briefcase, just teasing it. So,
okay,
I'm hoping it's him.
I could see LA Knight. Honestly, I could see both of those. I could see Cody, or I could see LA Knight. I would be fine with both of those. My pick is a curveball because he hasn't even been like in a qualifying match yet, but I think I can see this happening. Is Gunther? I think that Gunther.
He's a champ.
He's an intercontinental champion. He is the intercontinental champion, but I could see Gunther going into the Money in the Bank and winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, and also having it be one of those things where he just like holds it and just like has that leering threat of cashing it in like at all times, because he's such a killer right now that like everybody's legitimately afraid of him. Like people are terrified to actually face him. So I could see that happening. Realistically, though, I think it's probably going to be Cody, but I would like LA Knight better. Like,
LA Knight would be really fun.
LA Knight's probably actually one of my favorite people in the entire company right now, because no matter how much they make him lose, people love him even more. Like, so I feel like they're going to have to pull the trigger on him like sooner than later.
I'll tell you a fun little story. I won't say who, but somebody told me they didn't like LA Knight because they were like, he thinks wrestling is real. They're like, he's so fucking annoying. Like, he thinks everything about him is real. It's like, dude, they tell you to win or lose. So it drove him nuts, but not for nothing. Whatchamacallit? It was just I think it's more fun. Like, I think he's just way better. I enjoy him a lot. Sorry, I had a weird thing with Zoom just now. I was just like, wait, what the hell is just happening? I'm still here, right?
Did Zoom hiccup on you? Oh, you're still here.
Yeah, it said I was signed out. I was like, what?
Like, what happened? No.
Yeah, that was strange. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, it was funny because he said he didn't like him, and I was like, okay, cool. I could see why he's annoying. But in the long run, I think him with that kind of attitude is why he's like getting more successful and more behind. Like, people are getting more behind him, and he's very entertaining, because he believes this shit is real. I mean, if that's true, but
I've been a fan of him ever since. I mean, honestly, I've been a fan of him for a long time, but like I was really a fan of him ever since he did that fuck up on NWA the shoes of a champion thing. And then he just like, because he did it, and then he just looked at the camera and just said, "Did I just say that?" And then he's like, "Yeah," and they just like went right on from it. And then just like it was that like moment was kind of like really funny to me, because you could tell that he was just like, yeah, I fucked up, let's go. And he just like, he moved, like he called it out, moved on from it, and then just like kept that whole thing entertaining like on a consistent basis. And then as soon as he came into WWE, every single thing they've handed him, no matter how shitty it's been, he has still made it good. So like he really is one of my top people right now. So I hope that if he wins, they give him a good title run, because I really feel like he's somebody that could shoulder the company for one of the titles for at least a considerable amount of time, because I know he's not like the youngest dude in the world, but I know that I feel like he could put on the show in the ring, on the mic, like all of it. I really feel like he would. But what about the women's? Do you guys have a pick on the women's Money in the Bank? We got Becky doing a qualifying match tonight. There's 2 qualifying matches tonight.
Oh, yeah.
There's Becky is in one of them, and I don't think it's Trish that's in the other one.
I think Sonya's in one, and honestly, I'd like her to win it. That's weird to say.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's about time she gets up there, because I think she could do it. I would like
Sonya's
to see
great,
her for a title run, like not title run, but at least like a contender.
Sure.
I could Selena Vega, she's in it. I'd be down with her winning.
Oh yeah, dude. If Zelina's in there, yeah, because Zelina is in there.
I'm Puerto Rican. I didn't even say Zelina. Shit.
Oh, dude, you're fired from Puerto Rico.
I'm done.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't look at right now, so it's fine. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, she's way overdue, because she's such a killer in the ring. Like, she's so good. I mean, she's tiny. She's such a small like wrestler, all things considered. And I think that's probably what's kind of held her back as far as any kind of that contention goes. But fuck, is she good? And she's always good. Like, she always puts on just a really, really good match. So yeah, I could see that. Come to think of it, because
I hope it's her. She deserves it. She deserves it.
She does. She does deserve it, Zelina. What a weird like contrast of people to be in a couple, by the way. Malachi Black and Zelina Vega. Like, when you look at them next to each other, it's like, oh, all right. Like, I wouldn't have expected that. But then also, like, if you go back and look at the way Zelina Vega, like the shit that she likes outside of wrestling, she's into some really dark, like horror shit and like comic stuff and everything like that. So it does make sense when you look at it. Yeah, dude, she's way into it. Yeah, so I think Zelina, yeah, I think that's a good pick. I think Zelina is going to be one that does that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do on Raw tonight, because what the qualifying matches are Becky versus. Did you see who it was, Josh?
No.
I'm looking at it. I thought you were looking it up when I saw you.
No.
It's Becky versus Sonya and Natalia versus Zoe Stark.
Oh, okay. Ooh. So, well, we know who's going to win that one. That's definitely going to be Zoe Stark. Fucking poor Natalia, man. She keeps like just getting her ass handed to her by everything. She was the one that lost. She lost to Rhea again at the fucking White Plains show. They keep on handing her ass.
She at least get 5 minutes.
I hope so. Like, she fucking, dude, when she got squashed by Rhea, I was like, it makes sense, but Jesus Christ, Natty, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I really want to know what was behind that decision. Like, was that like going, you know what? It's my birthday. I don't feel like wrestling. Let's just lose to you in 30 seconds. That could have been it.
Maybe, yeah.
Besides, if that wasn't it, I really
made a Saudi payday. She got a Saudi payday for her birthday. It was like, you know what? Go in there, take the pin clean. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Here's 12 bars of gold. Just lose, please. And just all right.
Like I like that you went to the Saudis just paying you in precious metals. Just like, here's your fucking
straight
your gold bars. Get the fuck out of our country. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Here's your gold bars.
It's wild.
Yeah, dude. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up, and I'm looking forward to pretty much all of it. This is one of those times, I mean, hopefully you guys agree with me here, is that wrestling right now, I mean, even if you're not a fan of Impact, even Impact is doing their thing. And like, wrestling right now, as a fan, man, we got a lot to chew on. There's a lot on the plate, and I think it's great. I mean, there's pretty much something for everybody at this point, like consistently, you know. If you had to put one above the other, what's your favorite watch right now? What's your favorite show every week? Is it still SmackDown?
No, Dynamite for me is consistently my favorite show. Just in terms of stuff that I wouldn't normally see before. Like I like SmackDown as well. It goes back and forth. Lately, Dynamite has been a little hit and miss, where SmackDown has been very consistent. But still, with Dynamite, you're getting the lucha stuff, like all the work rate is a little higher on Dynamite.
Yeah.
So, like, I actively look forward to Wednesdays. I mean, I look forward to Fridays as well, but I like if I have plans on a Wednesday, I'm bummed that I can't watch
it's fair.
Dynamite live. If I have plans on a Friday, I'm like, that's all right. I'll see it. You know.
That's fair. That's totally fair. What about you, Josh?
No, I was gonna say the same thing with Dynamite. Dynamite's definitely hit or miss. But Dynamite's a show now where I have it on every Wednesday. Like Wednesday, like I don't feel like doing anything. I'm just gonna be home and watch Dynamite, and I'll have it on. Some days I barely pay attention to it. Some days it's really good. SmackDown has been way more interesting, although I don't really get to watch it as much because I'm usually like out somewhere on a Friday night, or if I'm in, I'll watch it. But I'm like, okay, I know Saturday morning I'm gonna find a way to watch last night's SmackDown. You know what I mean? Because I'm more interested. I want to see what happened. You know, like especially this past. I had my show at Pine Box, and I was like, damn, I kind of wish I was watching SmackDown right now. And then I had a fun night. But besides that, it was like, I was like trying to figure out, all right, how do I find a legal stream to watch SmackDown because Hulu doesn't upload it till like 4 p.m.
Oh yeah, that is true.
That's an annoying part. That's the only reason why I do that. Yeah, it's so dumb. Like I was like, I want to watch it now when I wake up, like Saturday morning cartoon. So I have some websites and I figure it out. But it's just, that was my plan. Like I watched this past SmackDown. SmackDown was awesome. Especially all the bloodline stuff that happened. So it's weird. I think I'm interested more in SmackDown, but I watch Dynamite more consistently.
Nice. So, it's interesting because I'm kind of in the middle of both of what you're saying because I am more interested in SmackDown for sure, storyline wise, but I find myself to be more invested in Dynamite. So, like, I'm not too pissed off if I have to just watch highlights of SmackDown, like just to get the points that I want to get. Yeah. But I find myself wanting to support Dynamite more because I like what AEW is doing. So this will go back to what you do, Rob, with the going back on the Nitros. AEW feels like they're doing with AAA what Nitro was doing with luchadors back in the day, where they were kind of like, reintroducing all that stuff. Because like that last match with Commander Elijo and I think it was Dralistico, that 3-way for the mega title. Holy Rampage, shit. Like people that had never been introduced to AAA that saw that match have an entirely new product that they want to watch now. Like it was such a good match. So that kind of puts me, that type of thing is putting me more in the boat of wanting to support Dynamite even more than I have wanted to before, because it feels like they're just doing some cooler stuff. Whereas like I said, WWE, for what they do well, they do it very well. They have so much like roster and so much product and so much everything to do that like, it's hard for them to juggle it, I feel like. Whereas AEW was getting to that point, but now that they've cut out like Dark and Dark Elevation and they're kind of refocusing everything onto like, you got your core Dynamite, you got your Rampage, and I don't know what the fuck is going to happen with Collision. I know like we're getting to the end of this, but I want to mention this because there's something I heard about Collision that like I don't know if I like. So first off, I'm not a person who is actually happy that CM Punk is coming back. I'm sick of CM Punk. I'm sick of CM Punk because for multiple reasons, but mainly the reason I'm sick of CM Punk is actually not even the personal stuff. It's that every time he goes into any kind of a high caliber feud or match, he gets fucking injured and then he's gone again. So it's just like, Jesus Christ, dude, like we can't even get invested in whatever the fuck you're doing because you're gone for another 8 months because you slipped and fucking tore a rotator cuff or whatever. So like you got that. But my main issue, the thing that I think is interesting about Collision, the rumor going around is that not only CM Punk, but also Ace Steel are going to have a massive amount of creative control over the direction of Collision, mostly with their storyline, but really the general direction of the show, which very much feels like an old Click move of like, yeah, we're going to fucking do this, but you're going to have to give us all of our creative control. So I'm very cautiously optimistic.
I think Punk has good taste in wrestling, though, so he'll be pushing. If that's the case, he'll push good guys. I think it's more just he has control over his story, which will be the top story on the show, and then probably suggest some guys to push, which I'm okay with. Like the guys he likes are like the guys he wrestled, like Lee Moriarty, and like I heard that his first program is going to be against Jay White. No complaints there.
That's pretty great.
That's going to be fucking great. But I think to your point, it's until we see what it's like, it's all speculation right now. Personally, I think AEW booking could use some fresh eyes because they're relying a little too much on run-ins and like shenanigans, and their whole thing is they're the not shenanigan promotion. So hopefully they scale that back.
Yeah. What about you, Josh? What do you feel about that? About Collision?
I do have my own little personal things with the whole, well, let's give you a show. But at the end of the day, I kind of like it because it's not Tony Khan running it creatively.
He's still going to run it ultimately. I mean, he has the final say.
Yeah, I feel like he with Punk being more of a creative guy behind it than Dynamite, and let Tony Khan run Dynamite, you'll get a different, different view of watching it in a way. Sure. And I know Punk does have a good record of coming up with cool shit. So I think it's definitely going to be interesting. I do like the idea that it's for what I've been heard, unofficial brand split, because we'll get to see people that we don't get to see much on Dynamite.
Yeah, I think people are making too big a deal of it because if you pay attention to Rampage, there's a Rampage brand split. Like there's guys that will only wrestle on Rampage. It's just they don't make a big deal of it. I think it's fine. Like you were saying, Josh, it'll allow them to focus on other guys that haven't been really focused on. So hopefully there'll be new programs. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
My only problem with Collision, it's on a Saturday night.
That part sucks. But
they need to figure out their streaming situation. It needs to be on Max or Hulu or something. Let's go.
Yeah.
They do need to figure that part out. It's also like, so part of, you would understand this, Rob. One of the things that I do outside of comedy and podcasting and stuff is that I do photography for concerts. So like my weekends are almost always fucked as far as that goes. So it's like, if I want to stay home and watch something, there's a good chance that if I'm not doing a comedy show, I'm photographing a metal show or like a local show, or something like that. So it's like, yeah, they need to figure out some sort of a thing to make it more accessible for people that, I don't know, have lives outside of wrestling, so I don't want them to go with Hulu or anything like that. I hope that they go with something like Max, because that seems to be better. Because like even Peacock has been fine for WWE, but if they do something, they also need to do like something like that with Ring of Honor, because I know they have Honor Club and stuff like that, but that's like more paid shit, and it's something that's very specific. Like, so I feel like they have to do something with that too. But regardless, I like the direction it's going in. I think Collision, for whatever issues that I have with CM Punk, I'm optimistic about Collision. And I do think it's going to be cool to have more of a platform and a bigger platform for people that we don't necessarily get to see as much on Dynamite.
Yeah.
And, it goes back to the whole thing of just having a lot of wrestling to chew on right now, which I think is better all the time.
Yeah. The more options, the better. I agree.
Yeah, because 2008 Raw is depressing. Geez, what a bad time that was. My question is, what was the decision about Saturday nights? Like, who made that call? Was it the network?
TNT. Yes.
Yeah. Because not for nothing,
like, hey, we want you to do a show on Saturday nights, and we're going to give you a boatload of money. Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like,
yes, we do.
I wonder how long that's going to be, because I really wish that would be the show that I would definitely put on a Monday. Like, if you want to
well, I don't
that,
think he wants to do that because he doesn't want to compete with Monday Night Football. That's his. He said he's trying.
Okay.
So.
Right.
That actually is
okay.
fair.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just like, I was hoping, like, if that was on Mondays, I'm definitely not watching Raw. I'm watching Collision, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, boys, this has been a great episode. There was a lot to talk about, and I think it's, Rob, we're definitely gonna have you come back because there's so much wrestling shit going on, and we loved having you here. So I think it's gonna be awesome. Love to have you back. Where can people find you? Where can they find your stuff, your podcast, your everything?
My social media is Rob Injection. I write a regular column about pro wrestling on KNOTFEST.com. on Tuesdays and Fridays. I basically aggregate all the big news stories. So if you don't want to hit 50 different news sites and you don't want to question which stuff is true or not, I have pretty good wrestling media literacy. So I do all that work for you and only write the confirmed stuff, or if something is a rumor, I very clearly describe it as such so you can see that. And then my podcasts are KNITRO, and KNITRO, which is where we watch episode of Nitro every week, and then Squared Circle Pit, which I just had Josh on recently.
Yeah,
where I like it's about the intersection between rock and pro wrestling, and I have a lot of cool interviews with musicians, like some you would not expect that are wrestling fans, like Corey Taylor from Slipknot, which you would know because he fucking writes about it all the time. I got Maynard on there. Zach Wilde was really cool. Like, he's super into it. And then also
Maynard is a shocker to me, actually. Zach Wilde's not as much, but Maynard is a shocker.
He doesn't follow the current stuff, but he's into lucha. He was into like UK stuff from when he was a kid. And also I have an interview with Paul Heyman on there, which is so cool.
Well, I know that you're in the middle of a plug, but I have to ask this. Have you ever had Lita on to talk about the Luchagors?
No, I've been trying to get Lita on. She is one of my bucket list interview items. I definitely would love to talk to her about Luchagor. Like, she's the perfect guest because she's exactly what the show's about.
She's straight in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. And I'm really I love that you actually do the intersection of rock and wrestling, because I kind of do that with the horror podcast that I do.
Oh, nice.
So we have people on all the time that, like, we've had Redbeard on there. We've had Jason Baker on there. So we've had quite a few people that come in there and they talk about wrestling and how the intersection between the horror storylines and the horror aesthetic and stuff like that, how it bleeds into wrestling. And the interviews have always been really interesting, like how those worlds blend together. And I imagine with rock, it's got to be the same thing, because the personalities and everything like that. Yeah, dude. Now, and you literally have me thinking of all people that I would pull out of the rock universe to be like, yeah, they're definitely a wrestling fan. It would not have been Maynard. He's just is not the one that I would have been like,
I was
shit.
just a surprise. I was trying to get Adam Jones because he goes to PWG shows and shit. He's really into it. But they were like, oh, Adam doesn't want to do it, but Maynard will do it. And I was like, wait, what? Okay, I guess I'm not gonna turn down an interview with Maynard.
It's hilarious. I love it. Josh, where can the people find you?
It's joshalba.com website, all the socials, got the podcast on there, got some shows, doing a bunch of shows this month and next month. Got some new stuff I'm working on, new material, got something planned for next year. I'm excited. Jonas, you know about it.
Hell yeah.
But it's gonna be a lot of work. I'm excited for that, dude. 2 people came from listening to this podcast to Pine Box Friday.
Oh shit.
I was surprised. I was like, what? Yeah, I was like, you came here and I talked about cum for 15 minutes. That is insane. But no, it was
Welcome to
wild. It was like,
comedy.
yeah. I was like, yeah, we're just stupid. But yeah, dude, fucking Pine Box. Next one's July 7th. And also your show, Traumedy Hour. That's gonna be fun. We got John Moses, the headliner.
That's gonna be a hell of a good show, man. We got that on the 22nd of June. That's gonna be at the Tiny Cupboard per usual. And yeah, that's the Traumedy Hour. That's where we talk about the dark, we talk about the traumas, we talk about all the things that people tell you not to talk about in public, and we talk about them into a microphone and make them funny. Because we don't believe in keeping quiet about any of your shit that you got going on. You should be able to talk about any and all of it. And also, I think it helps people. I think when you're going through some shit, you get to make humor out of it, as dark as the joke may be. I think it helps people that may be going through something similar, and they can kind of see the bright side of it too. So yeah, we do that, and we have the Traumedy Hour podcast, which is the companion to that. It comes out every now and then. Those are kind of one of those podcasts that we just do it as a guest is available to do it. So it's not on a regular basis, but you'll see new ones pop up on there. And if you are following horror at all, that's where you want to look up AGHP666, and that is on both Twitter and Instagram. That is another goddamn horror podcast. And we have a lot of cool stuff coming up on there. I was just looking at our guest list. We have a lot of cool things coming up. And specifically, I cannot wait to talk to Uwe Boll, because that's coming up soon. The notorious German director that made some of the worst video game adaptation movies of all time. And he is not afraid to talk about all of the dirty details about that. So he's gonna be cool. And he's also the dude that actually told critics that shit on his movies to come to Germany and fight him in a boxing match. And a bunch of them did and didn't realize that he was a professionally trained boxer, and he fucked them up. It was amazing. Nice. So yeah, so he's gonna be a fun one to talk to. And then just add Jonas Barnes on Twitter, at Jonas Barnes Comedy on Instagram. Josh,
one more thing.
Yeah,
we got a Patreon now.
We do have a Patreon now.
Yeah, so check it out, patreon.com/Monday Nitro Party. Please give us money. I can pay for Zoom and everything.
Yeah,
it would be
more
nice.
expensive to run than you think.
Yeah.
And listen, we literally just did a $5 tier. So it's just your way of saying thank you to us for putting this on. You pay $5 a month and you get everything that's going to be involved with the Patreon. That's going to be Patreon only posts. It's going to be videos. It's going to be
titty pics.
I mean, I don't know if that's allowed, but technically speaking, but sure, it could be that too. You could be
first
that
person to sign up. I'll send them booby pics.
Yeah, it's true. They are. You have a luscious chess piece going on, Josh. So
yes.
It's but everything you'll get access to the whole thing. And then as time goes on, we're going to start adding merch tiers to that as well. And we're going to be doing merch with the Monday Nitro Party. We'll do all sorts of shit. We'll have fun with it. So yeah, this is the start of the Patreon. As of now, it is live. You can go sign up for it, and we would appreciate the hell out of you if you did. So Josh, anything else we want to let the people know about before we get out of here?
Just want to let everyone know that they're doing great, and I'm proud of them.
Aw, me too. Rob, what about you? Are you proud of everybody?
Sit up straight. All right.
Relax.
Yeah. Pay attention to your posture. Your back hurts for a reason. All right. All right, you guys. This has been the Monday Nitro Party. You guys rock. Please absolutely check out all of Rob's stuff, because all those things are cool. If you've ever been interested about Nitro going all the way back to the beginning, I cannot recommend his show enough, because holy shit, is there a variety of stuff going on in Nitros. So please go check out his shows and everything he does. And come back to us next week. We'll see you then. Monday Nitro Party. Thanks, guys.
Bye.